Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at something I think you're all too familiar with, and that's returns.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll be diving deep into the world of sizing in online fashion and how AI could really be the key to a more sustainable and profitable future for you.
Right. We have a bunch of research here that shows just how big of a problem returns are, not just for your bottom line, but the environment too.
It's so easy to just think about the convenience factor.
Right. Yeah.
For online shopping, both for you and your customers.
Right.
Couple clicks, boom, new clothes.
Yeah.
But then what happens when it gets returned?
Exactly. And a lot of those returns, it comes down to one thing, sizing issues. You know, the customers can't try clothes on before they buy online. So what do? They order multiple sizes just to be safe.
Right.
It's, they call it bracketing.
Bracketing.
Yeah. And it really contributes to those high return rates.
It's so frustrating. I know for me as a customer, but I can only imagine the headache it causes for retailers.
Oh, absolutely.
But it goes way beyond just frustration.
It does. Think about it. Every time a customer returns an item, it just creates this ripple effect.
Right.
More shipments, more packaging, more waste.
It's like this environmental domino effect.
It is.
We're talking mountains of plastic waste.
Yeah.
I mean, did you know that the UK produces 2.2 million tons of plastic packaging every year?
It's wild.
It's like each of us are throwing away over 35 kilograms of plastic packaging annually. And how much of that comes from online shopping returns? It's got to be a lot.
Oh, yeah. And only 44% of that plastic is actually recycled.
Wow.
So let's say you're dealing with 200,000 orders a year.
Okay.
Even if just 25% of those are returned because of sizing issues, that's 50,000 returns.
Right.
And that easily translates to over 32,500 extra plastic bags going straight to the landfill.
And that's just from one retailer.
It's just from one.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about the carbon emissions from all those extra shipments.
Right.
I mean, every time a garment goes back and forth, it's racking up more miles, it's adding to the footprint.
Right.
Globally, we're looking at about 16 million tons of CO2 annually.
Wow.
Just from e-commerce returns. That's like putting 3 million cars on the road for a year.
3 million cars.
Yeah.
Jeez. So those 50,000 size-related returns we talked about, that could generate over 7,200 kilograms of CO2 emissions.
Just from shipping, yeah.
Just from the shipping. That's crazy.
That's like running a house, an average household, for 2 years.
Wow. And then on top of all that, there's the whole issue of overproduction.
Yeah. So because of all this bracketing and high return rates, retailers, you end up having to make more clothes than you need.
To account for it.
Yeah, just to buffer against those uncertainties.
Yeah.
The fashion industry, it already overproduces by something like 30 to 40% annually.
Really?
Yeah, so that's 92 million tons of textile waste each year globally.
92 million.
Wow.
So let's bring it back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's say you have to carry just 3% extra inventory to account for those issues.
Right.
If you're working with cotton, you could be looking at 26,000 kilograms of CO2 emissions per year just for that extra cotton.
Just for that, yeah. And if you're using polyester, more than double that.
Oh, my goodness. It all adds up.
It does.
And a lot of those extra clothes probably end up in a landfill.
Probably.
It's a massive waste of resources.
It is water, energy, raw materials, all for clothes that may never even be worn.
That's wild. So it really does sound like, returns are hurting, not just the planet, but also, retailers like you and the wallet.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Processing returns, the shipping, the handling, the restocking, all of that, it all costs money.
Yeah.
On average, we're talking 20 to 30 quid per item returned.
Okay, so going back to that example of 50,000 returns,
all right,
we're talking potentially 1 to 1.5 million pounds in extra cost just from returns.
Just from returns, yeah. I mean, that's a huge chunk of change.
Yeah, money that could be, put back into the business.
Absolutely. Marketing, new products,
Yeah. Okay, so we've painted a pretty bleak picture here.
Yeah.
Tons of plastic emissions going through the roof.
Right.
Retailers taking a hit.
Yeah.
So is there any good news?
There is. This is where things get really exciting. So technology, AI specifically, could really change the game.
Okay. AI, I've seen, there's some websites out there that do the whole size recommendation quizzes and stuff. But honestly, those have been pretty hit or miss for me. So is this something different?
This is totally different. We're not talking about the generic size charts or whatever. This is AI that can look at individual customer measurements, their purchase history, and it can even figure out like how different brands size their clothes.
Wow.
It's like having a personal stylist in the computer, you know?
That's impressive.
Yeah.
But how does that actually translate into fewer returns?
Okay, so imagine a customer comes to your site and they find this dress that they love, but they're like, ooh, I don't know about the sizing.
Right.
This AI pops up and it says, you know, based on what we know about your measurements and this brand's fit, we recommend you go with a size 10.
Wow.
You know, so it really takes the guesswork out of it for them.
So fewer sizing headaches, fewer returns.
Exactly.
Okay. Are there companies out there that are actually doing this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Companies like Prime AI are really spearheading this whole thing.
Okay.
They've developed a tool that's shown to seriously reduce bracketing, and that leads to, you know, fewer returns and all those good things we talked about.
Yeah. So fewer returns, that means less waste, lower emissions, and more
money in your pocket.
More money. The good stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, you know, what kind of impact are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Can we go back to that example of a retailer with, you know, 50,000 returns?
Right.
How would this play out for them?
All right. So let's say they implement this tool, this Prime AI tool, and they manage to cut returns by like 20%.
Okay.
That's 10,000 fewer returns.
Wow.
Right? So now imagine that's 20,000 fewer plastic bags going to the landfill.
Yeah. What about those CO2 emissions?
So for that, we could see a reduction of over 1,400 kilograms of CO2 just from shipping alone.
Yeah.
And don't forget about overproduction.
Right.
Fewer returns. So now you can really dial in your inventory planning, so less waste.
So it's not just about making returns less of a hassle.
Right.
It's about, you know, really changing how retailers approach all of this.
Yeah.
You know, sizing, inventory, their impact on the planet.
It is. And here's the thing. Sustainability isn't just like this nice to have anymore.
Right.
It's a deal breaker for a lot of shoppers.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when it comes to fashion.
I've definitely noticed that.
Yeah.
You know, more and more people want to know, like, how their clothes are made, where they're made,
right.
what materials are used.
Yeah.
You know, what are brands doing to reduce their impact?
It's a real shift in values.
Yeah.
Studies show that 73% of shoppers, they're willing to actually pay more for sustainable brands.
Yep.
And retailers who are going green, they see like a 30% boost in customer loyalty.
That's huge. So it's not just, you know, some trend that's going to fade away.
It's not.
It's like really changing how people are making decisions.
Right.
And let's be honest, saving money on returns and boosting customer loyalty, that's like the dream.
That's the dream, right?
Yeah.
And the data shows it. Retailers that are adopting these sustainable practices, including stuff to reduce returns, they're seeing return rates drop by like 20 to 40%.
Wow. It's like, you know, proof that doing good is actually good for business.
It is.
Yeah. So it really sounds like, you know, this whole sustainability thing, it's the key to unlocking, you know, a more efficient, more ethical, more profitable future for, you know, everyone in fashion. And it's amazing to think that something as simple as, you know, getting the size right the first time can have such a big impact.
It's a great example of how technology can solve these real world problems.
Yeah.
And it shows how connected all our choices are.
Yeah.
From what we buy to how it's made to how it's shipped.
It makes you think twice about that next impulse buy, doesn't it?
It does. And think about it. What would happen if this like AI sizing became like the standard?
Yeah.
Fewer returns, less waste, lower emissions, and customers would always be getting the perfect fit.
That sounds like a future I can get behind.
Right.
Yeah. It's really inspiring to see how technology and sustainability can work together.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening, what's the main takeaway from all of this?
So embrace innovation. Prioritize sustainability.
Yeah.
Remember, focusing on getting the right fit the first time, that helps everyone.
Yeah.
Your customers, your business, and the planet.
Yeah, I think, you know, for any retailer listening right now, this has got to be a big, like, aha moment. You know, it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day.
Right.
But this really puts things into perspective.
It does. It reminds us that even small changes can have a big impact.
Yeah.
And with sustainability, those ripples go way beyond just your business.
Right. And I mean, we've talked a lot about the planet.
Yeah.
We've talked about the bottom line. But let's not forget about, you know, the customer.
Right.
Imagine, you know, a world where returns are rare.
Yeah.
Because people are, you know, consistently getting the right fit.
Yeah.
Happy customers, less hassle for you, and, you know, a healthier planet.
Everybody wins.
Yeah.
And AI recommendations are really just, one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
There are so many innovative solutions out there to help you cut down on returns, minimize your impact, and build a business that's good for the planet.
It's all about finding the right tools, the right strategy
Right.
for your business. But the important thing is to start.
Yeah, just start somewhere.
Don't let the size of the problem
Right.
make you freeze up.
Exactly.
Every step towards a more sustainable future is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and remember, sustainability, it's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
There's always something new to learn,
Right.
more to do, to improve, more to innovate. But by taking that journey, you're not just building a better business, you're building a better world.
Well said. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
It's been great.
Hopefully this has given, everyone listening some things to think about.
Yeah.
And, maybe inspired you to take action.
And to all those retailers out there, keep innovating.
Yeah.
Keep pushing boundaries. Keep striving for that sustainable future. The planet will thank you for it. Your customers will thank you for it.
Thanks for listening, everybody.